Hey, I did not know if I was going to make it on tonight. I still don't know if I'm going to make it on tonight. Up in the air. No. I hope everybody's doing wonderful. I hope somebody shows up. I know it is late, and I am sorry for that. Life got ahead of me today, and I just couldn't catch up to it. Hey, oh my goodness. You came. I'm so happy. Woo! Yes. Oh my gosh. I did not think that anyone was going to come. I was like, yep, I'm just going to sit there for a half hour and no one's going to show up. Everybody's sleeping. They all gave up on me. And here you guys are, because you guys are amazing. You're the best, I swear. Oh my gosh, hi. I'm so happy you're here. We have a Manning clip from last night to actually get through. And then, so I went into, ooh, that sounds like a whole lot of fun. I went into a room that I had an update set on my calendar for a couple days ago. And I went in to get a clip because there was supposed to have been a Sav sit that was supposed to have come back. And he didn't. Either they settled out of court or something else happened with it, or he didn't show. I have no idea. But there was a whole lot of what going on in that court. So I got a whole bunch from there, and I just figured we'll finish up Manning, because the last one, the one that we didn't get to last night, was actually like the most interesting of the three. But I just couldn't do it. I was so doggone tired. So anyways, let me get Manning going. Just because of how this is set up, it's going to start at the beginning, and then I'll have to back it up. Or not back it up. Back it forward. Move it forward.
Phoenix, or big old brat.
Like that.
Body worn camera.
All right. We already did this guy. All right.
This is position 1, Bostic Damon Cassette. 23 CP 218487, 167.
And let me just say, the thing about this clip, it annoys the hell out of me. But the reason it annoys me is the defense attorney is doing exactly what the defense attorney is supposed to do. He keeps twisting statements and making things, he's saying, oh, well, you said this, and that's not what was said. It's a version of what was said. And I get that's what he's supposed to do. He's trying to trip him up, but oh, by golly, that's the reason why people don't like lawyers. I have to go grab some cinnamon rolls out of the oven too. So I'm going to get this started, and then I'll be right back.
Days without indictment there. Trafficking in illegal drugs, BGCSA, possession of controlled substance in Schedule 1 or 2, simple battery, family violence, and possession of drug-related objects. Officer, if you raise your right hand, you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Officer Javon Gordon. First name Javon, JAY''VON. Last name Gordon, GORDON.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Scott.
All right. And where are you employed?
I'm employed with the Roswell Police Department.
All right. And how long have you been employed in that capacity?
2 years, 10 months.
All right. And are you post-certified?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. And if you could just tell us, were you employed on May 13th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
All right. And could you tell us what you were doing on that day?
I was working as a patrol officer, and I was dispatched to just the La Quinta Hotel in reference to a female calling our Roswell dispatch, requesting an officer, and then hanging up.
There was no mention as to what she requested an officer for?
No, sir.
Okay. And what did you do when you arrived to that La Quinta Hotel?
When I arrived, I asked the front desk clerk who was working at the front desk. They heard any disturbance in the hotel or anything like that. They said no, and I asked them, could I walk around the hotel in order to try to locate the female?
And did they allow you to?
Yes, they said yes. And so as I entered the first hallway of the hotel to my left, I observed a male pushing his way into a hotel room, which was identified as room 111.
Was he able to make entry?
Yes, he was able to make entry, and I followed behind him to the hotel room. He didn't see me. Once he was inside the room, I heard a female saying, "You slapped me in my face." Once I heard that, I started banging on the hotel room to get them to answer the door and come out.
What did they say when they came out?
Once they opened the door, Miss, I'm a butcher her name, Osama Greenwich, she came out. She stated that later identified as Mr. Cassette, had slapped her in her face and that he had drugs inside of his truck.
Was she ever separated?
Yeah, so after Mr. Cassette's and her information was given over the radio, it was found that Mr. Cassette had a warrant out of Florida for burglary. At that time, he was placed in handcuffs and brought outside to my patrol car to separate them. Another officer stayed inside to speak with Miss Greenwich while I stayed outside with Mr. Cassette. That officer spoke with Miss Greenwich, and then we switched, and I went inside and spoke with Miss Greenwich.
What did she say to you?
Once I got back inside the hotel room, I asked her to tell me the events that happened. She said she was inside the hotel room. The argument was over Mr. Cassette going through her cell phone. They got into an argument. He held her down and punched her a couple of times in her rib cage. And in order to defend herself, she covered her face. Reached up and grabbed his shirt collar and pulled him down. That's where he sustained a scratch on his face. Once they got up, Mr. Cassette left the hotel room, which is when I observed him. And then when he came back in, he slapped her in her face. And she also told me again that he had drugs inside of his truck that was parked outside.
Did she have any visible injuries?
Yes, she had a marking on her face.
Did she say how she got that mark?
Yes, from him hitting her in the face. Not from the slap. This was from the previous tussling.
What did she say about where the drugs were located?
She said that they were in his truck. It was parked right outside their hotel room window. I pulled the curtain back to the hotel room, clearly observed a work truck that said the word Hussman on it. When speaking with Mr. Cassette, he said that he worked for Hussman and he had a Hussman t-shirt on at the time of the incident. She said that the drugs were laying right on the center console under a glove. I asked her how she knew that drugs were inside the truck. She said that Mr. Cassette had told her. I asked her why did he tell her that. He said he was scared because officers were outside the La Quinta on a previous incident, and when we were out there, he was scared, left the drugs inside of the truck, and came inside to the hotel room.
Did you have an opportunity to view the vehicle?
Yes. So after I got done talking with her, I immediately went outside, went to the truck, flashed my flashlight inside the truck, and clearly observed a plastic baggie with a clear substance inside it on the center console under a glove.
What did you do after you saw the substance?
I asked for a K9 unit to arrive on scene to do an open air sniff of the car.
And
around the car.
Did an officer and who arrived to perform that?
Yes, K9 handler McDonald arrived a short time later.
What happened?
He ran the dog around the truck and he advised me that the dog had a positive alert on the vehicle. And at that time I called for a tow truck to take the truck back to our police department so I could obtain a search warrant.
Did you obtain a search warrant?
Yes, I obtained a search warrant.
And when was that signed?
Give me 1 second. Sorry. At 4:44 a.m.
Not heard of him.
What happened after you got the search warrant?
After I obtained the search warrant, a search was conducted of the vehicle, finding it was 39 grams of methamphetamine, which it was field tested, and it showed a positive alert for methamphetamine and fentanyl. 6.2 grams of marijuana, 2 methamphetamine pipes, and a syringe with a brown substance inside.
Did you field test the marijuana?
I did not. No, sir.
And you said that 39 grams tested for both
Yes,
methamphetamine and fentanyl?
Yes, it tested positive for both methamphetamine and fentanyl.
Now, you guys all understood that, right? Please, because that comes up as a huge ordeal later. So they found 39 grams of drugs, right? They tested it and it tested positive for fentanyl and methamphetamine, I think you said, right? Okay, great. It tested positive for both. Keep that in mind because that statement ends up being a huge ordeal, according to the defense attorney.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with the defendant in this case?
Yes. Before.
Not necessarily mixed together, but kind of, yeah. Very often, fentanyl is used to make other drugs seem more potent, and that's how the overdoses are happening. So, drug dealers will lace the cocaine and the heroin and everything else with fentanyl. And it's extremely lethal for them to do that because the amount of fentanyl that it takes to overdose on is not a very large amount. So they get a really crappy product of the other stuff that they're selling. They lace it with that so that when their people use it, they get super high and they think that it's the greatest stuff in the world when they, could have bought a pair of socks for when the dealer could have bought a pair of socks for for more. But yeah. And then we have people dying all over the place because of them doing that. But that's what this was. He had purchased some really good stuff, but it wasn't. It was just really crappy stuff that was laced with fentanyl.
Or after the search warrant, I'm sorry.
Before,
yes.
did he say anything about, did you ask him about striking?
Yes, he denied that the altercation turned physical.
Did you speak with him about drugs?
I Mirandized him, and at that point, he refused to continue speaking with officers without his lawyer.
No, but it just gets them high. Very high. And that's all it does.
And you said the truck had a Hussman logo on it?
Yes, sir.
And as did his clothing?
Yes, sir.
And you did also state he worked for Hussman?
Yes, he told me that he worked for Hussman.
And so If you could just tell me how the parking lot is in relation to the hotel room.
Okay, yeah, so there is the hotel sits in the parking lot, the front parking lot and a rear parking lot. Their hotel room was on the rear side, so the truck was parked on the rear side, backed in right in front of their hotel room window. So you would pull the curtain back and it was the sidewalk, the walking path to the hotel, and then right in front of that was the truck.
And what did specifically did Miss Greenwich say about the location of that truck?
She said it was parked right outside.
Not an expert.
And do you recognize anyone in the courtroom today that you interacted with on May 13, 2020?
Stan, if you'd like.
Yes.
Yes, I recognize Mr. Cassette.
All right. And where is he? What is he wearing and where is he located?
He's sitting to my left. He is wearing a orange Fulton County jumpsuit and a medical face mask.
I'm desperate.
I would just like the record to reflect that Officer Gordon did identify the defendant.
All right, noted.
Did you take out the warrants on this case?
Yes, sir, I did.
And the warrants for trafficking were on what basis?
Because it was over 28 grams of methamphetamine.
And the possession of Schedule 1 or 2, what drug was that for?
The fentanyl.
Was there also over 28 grams of fentanyl?
Yes, sir, it was.
And were the warrants for simple battery family violence or simple battery?
Temporary family violence.
Could you just explain the basis of the family violence?
Yes, the basis or how I got to the basis.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Cassette told me that him and Miss Greenwich were together for 12 years. And after doing a search of his criminal history on one of our police databases, it was found that he was arrested for battery, family violence against Miss Greenwich in the past.
Did either of them mention anything about residing at the hotel room together?
Yes, he said that he had just brought her there to stay with him.
How long?
He didn't say how long, but he said that he was staying there and he picked her up to come stay there with him.
Are you aware of if they have any children together?
They do not. She does have a daughter that was in the hotel room at the time of the incident that was sleeping, but they're not. They don't have any biological children together.
Other than the drugs, was there anything else found in the motor vehicle?
Just the methamphetamine pipes.
Okay.
That was it.
And was that the basis for the drug-related objects?
Yes, sir.
Michelle, I don't want to put your personal business out on the main screen, but I just want you to know that my heart is with you. I lost a very close cousin of mine to that. And so I very much empathize with what you're going through. And I know the devastating effects that it can have on the family. So I'm sorry, and I love you.
And going back before you got the search warrant, you said you looked inside the Hussman vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And you could see what specifically could you see when you looked inside on the dash?
It was on the center console. It's a black and blue work glove. It was laying on halfway covering a plastic baggie that had a clear crystal-like substance inside.
Given your experience in law enforcement, did it appear to be anything? Well, what did that crystal?
Yes, with my knowledge, training, experience, it appeared to be methamphetamine.
Did Ms. Greenwich mention what kind of drugs?
She said methamphetamine.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, Cross?
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, you said how many grams in total between meth and fentanyl?
It was 39 grams.
And how many grams of meth did you say there were?
It was 39 grams. The 39 grams tested positive for both methamphetamine and fentanyl.
But you just testified that there's 28 grams of meth and 28 grams of fentanyl.
I said it was over 28 grams.
Nonetheless, you said it was over 28 grams of fentanyl and over 28 grams of methamphetamine. Together, that's exceeds the total of 39 grams. That's approximately 58 grams in total between exceeding 38 grams of meth and exceeding 38 grams of fentanyl.
Not what was said.
So you're saying that I said that it was two separate drugs. I'm saying the 39 grams in total
Right.
tested positive for both methamphetamine and fentanyl.
Okay. And you also said there was 28 grams for meth that you were able to find in the vehicle.
Is that a question?
It is. Did you say that there was an excess of 28 grams of methamphetamine?
Yes, 39 grams is in excess of 28 grams. 28 grams reaches some level of statute or exceeds some level of statute. Anything below that is a different statute. So, or charge, or however it's worded. Sorry, it's really late. But yeah, so he's not wrong in saying there was in excess of 28 grams when there was 39 grams. But then to, twist it up and say, well, because you said that, that means you're saying that it's 28 and 28, of each, which then puts that above the 39. So now you're just misinforming everyone. No, that's not at all what's going on. Stop it. Stop it, or Lawyer Kitty will slap you.
Yes, there's over 28 grams of tested methamphetamine inside the vehicle.
And is there over 28 grams of tested fentanyl in the vehicle?
Yes.
What is 28 plus 28?
So I'm not saying that there was two separate.
Yeah, this, I think it's clear from ask and answer that he's saying.
Your Honor,
both.
it's not ask and answer. He's making the claim that in total, it somehow bifurcates into a total of both meth and methamphetamine, both fentanyl and methamphetamine. You can't claim that there's approximately 60 grams of meth and fentanyl and then claim there's an excess of 30 grams of meth, in excess of 30.
Like, dude, come on. Stop lying. It seriously doesn't suit you. Oh, wow. Lawyer Kitty getting mad.
There's some discrepancy with what drug was what and what amount. And the only testing done was a field test. Officer, were the drugs sent to the
Was it
to a
like
laboratory?
One pile of drugs?
Yes.
One pile of drugs that weighed
39 grams.
And you can't ascertain which one was, how much of the amount was fentanyl and how much of the amount was methamphetamine, correct?
No, I cannot. I just tested a sample of the 39 grams and it tested positive for both.
And were those
Methamphetamine,
drugs ever
fentanyl.
sent to the laboratory?
No, they were not. Not yet. No, sir.
So there is no official GBI drug lab result, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. The field tests, are they always 100% accurate?
I'm not an expert on field testing, so I can't say if they're all 100% accurate.
Okay. So how did you enter into the vehicle?
Through the door, like the
Was it locked?
driver door.
Was it locked?
Yes, I obtained the keys
From whom?
inside the hotel room.
The keys to the vehicle was inside the hotel room?
Yes, sir.
Was it it was not on the body of Miss Gringe?
On her person?
Correct.
No, sir. Not from my knowledge, no.
And this is all on body camera footage, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the body cam footage, it will show that the keys to the vehicle were in the hotel and not on Miss Greenwich's persons, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't think I obtained the keys. Another officer, I believe, brought them to me, Officer Salath.
So you didn't grab the keys.
I did not personally know
So how do you know that the keys were in the hotel room and not on Miss Greenwich's body?
because I told her to go get the keys from inside the hotel room
How did you know they were inside the hotel room?
because he had nothing else on his person.
Why would you assume they'd be in the hotel room and not on her?
I didn't assume that they were on her. I just assumed that they would be in the room where both of them were staying.
And you checked the room.
Did I check the room? No.
You also mentioned that Mr. Cossett picked up and brought Miss Greenwich to the hotel in that vehicle, correct?
Is that
Yes,
an
sir.
offer?
And yet Miss Greenwich knew exactly where the drugs were, despite, let me rephrase that. Miss Greenwich was in the vehicle before you responded to the scene, correct?
Yes, she was picked up in the vehicle. I did not witness her inside the vehicle.
Sure.
Something along those lines.
And then she told you where the drugs were located precisely,
Yes, she did.
based on what Mr. Cossett told her.
No, she said that Mr. Cossett told her that drugs were inside the vehicle. And then she went outside and looked inside the vehicle.
When did she go outside if she was being slapped?
I'm sorry?
At what point did she go to the vehicle if she was being slapped pursuant to?
This was a break in their physical or verbal altercation.
So they had a verbal altercation. He tells her there are drugs in the vehicle. They time out, pause. She goes to the vehicle, checks for the drugs, comes back, and they resume their altercation.
No, I'm not.
Probably would object to that question because I don't believe that's exactly his testimony.
It's just the
as far
temporal
as-
timeline that the officer testified to, that there was a break in their verbal altercation. She went out to look for drugs based on what Mr. Cossett told her, Cassette told her, and then they resumed fighting.
Someone has never been in an argument in their entire lives. Like, the tension switch doesn't just flip off so that you can go outside, check for the drugs, and then come back inside and flip that tension switch back on. No, she went out just as hot as when she came back in. And it's not that they resumed fighting, the fight never ended. She just left the room for a minute and came back. Come on.
All right, we'll let him, if you can answer it, sir, you can answer it, if you have firsthand knowledge of it.
Yeah, so I was the officer who responded to the initial incident that she said that scared Mr. Cassette, and that was earlier in the night. She said that when Mr. Cassette got scared, he came inside, told her that the police were outside and that drugs were in the car. And at that point, she said she went outside and looked inside the vehicle, saw the drugs were right there, and then came back inside. And that's when all their altercation happened.
They happen.
So it was not a altercation, a break in her going outside, looking for the drugs, coming back in, and then resuming the altercation.
They are what gives attorneys bad names. They are what the jokes are made of.
Miss Greenwich told you that she was punched or hit in the side, correct?
Correct.
Did you witness any injuries on the ribs or the side of her body?
I did not. Another officer said they did, but I can't testify to what that officer saw.
Did
It's
that
all
officer
bad.
write a report?
No, sir.
Okay.
Unless your doctor prescribes it to you, it's all bad. And hi,
I
Red
apologize.
Lord.
You might have answered this, but originally you were informed that it was a verbal altercation.
From who? No, sir.
Miss Greenwich.
No, sir.
Sorry, I just need to check the warrant real quick.
Okay.
He's doing exactly what he's paid to do. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. That doesn't mean I have to like it.
It says in your warrant halfway through, once you made contact, it says while in the doorway. Actually, Your Honor, do I need to show the witness the warrant?
Do you have a copy of the warrant? Sure, you can if you.
I have a copy of my incident report.
Oh, you do?
My incident report, not the warrant.
Oh, okay. Sure, if you want him to.
Again, thank you all for coming out. I honestly did not think anyone would show up because it was so late.
Thank you.
I love you all.
Officer, do you mind reading that underlined sentence in your warrant?
Yes, it says while still in the doorway, Greenwich then advised that the altercation with cassette was only verbal.
So you went in, you made contact. The alleged victim said it was only a verbal altercation, then told you the exact precise location of the drugs, and then mentioned she got slapped and hit, yet you found no injuries on the site. And whatever injuries you did see, you just testified that it was from an earlier altercation.
No, so I'll read two sentences before the line you underline. I'll read it again. In my warrant, it says Greenwich initially advised that cassette slapped her in the face. Cassette did not make any physical contact with Miss Greenwich. While still in the doorway, Greenwich then advised that the altercation with cassette was only verbal. So she initially told me that she was slapped in the face.
She told you it was slapped, then she told you it was verbal, then she told you where the drugs are. So is it, but yet you found no injuries, and whatever injuries you did found weren't fresh and from a prior altercation, correct?
No, I found markings on Mr. Greenwich and Mr. Cassette. And from with my knowledge, training experience in the domestics that I've investigated, the victim usually doesn't want to speak while they're in the presence of the offender, which that was the case when she denied, when she stated that it was only verbal. So, which is why Mr. Cassette was handcuffed, taken outside, not only for that, but also for his warrant.
Right.
So he was not, that way we could speak with her separately and get her story. And at that point, she advised what I testified to.
Very common. They don't want to speak in front of the abuser.
Cheers. So she did not testify to being physically struck in the presence of Mr. Cassette, but she did tell you where the drugs were in the presence of Mr. Cassette. Correct?
So, like I said in the warrant, she initially said that she was slapped in the face,
Right.
and that drugs were inside of his car
Right.
when she opened the door. And while still in that doorway, while Mr. Cassette was sitting very close to her, she said nothing happened.
Right. But still, to your point, she didn't tell you about any physical altercation in front of Mr. Cassette. She only told you about the location of the drugs in the presence of Mr. Cassette.
No, she told me that she was slapped in the face by Mr. Cassette in his presence while he was sitting in the hotel room, still in the doorway.
But even though in your warrant it says it was a verbal only altercation.
Yes, I said she initially said that she was slapped in the face and that drugs were inside of his truck. And
some of this real life stuff is more scary than any director of a scary movie can actually put together. Scary movies don't even scare me anymore because I watch all of this crap. And this real life stuff, that's where the fear is, especially with like the mental illnesses and stalking and schizophrenia and stuff like that. Yeah, that's where the fear is. And I don't know how many more times this officer can say the exact same thing and the lawyer can repeat it back exactly wrong. How many more times is this going to happen?
Then she advised that the altercation was only verbal while still in the doorway.
Sure. Did you observe any markings on her face resembling a slap or markings of a slap?
Not from a slap, but it was a scratch.
Did you do any testing under the fingernails? Did you?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So she told you she was struck on the side. You saw no injuries. Yet she, hold on, let me rephrase that. She claimed to be had hit. Wow, I can't speak. She claimed to have been hit in the side, yet you observed no injuries. And the only,
I'm sorry, to her rib cage.
to her rib cage.
I did not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
You did not. Okay. And she had claimed to have been slapped, yet you only saw a scratch on her face, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you don't know who had the keys or where they came from when you entered into the vehicle?
No, sir.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, anything else on direct?
Just a few. You did get a warrant. You testified you got a warrant to get into that vehicle. Is that right?
Yes, I got a search warrant to get into the vehicle.
And so the victim initially stated she was slapped.
Yes.
Then gets slightly recanted and in front of the defendant, and then later when she was separated from the defendant, gave you the full story.
Yes. So when I initially got there, before I made contact with any of them, I heard her on the other side of the room say, "You slapped me in my face." I then knocked on the door to make contact with them. She came out, said that she had been slapped in the face, and that drugs were inside of his truck. While we're still standing in the doorway, she then said, while she was looking at him, he was sitting very close to her. She said nothing happened. Then we found out he had the warrant. They were separated. She told another officer the story. Officer came out, said that she had said some things. Then I went back inside to speak with her, and she gave me the full story.
And you said in your experience, you've had victims do that before when they're in the presence of their aggressor.
Yes.
And guess what? I bet Manning has too, because she used to be a cop. So she knows darn well exactly what this officer is relaying.
I have no further questions from this witness. Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Cashman?
Just a few. Officer, when you responded, did Miss, I can't remember her name, Grenage, did she appear to be under the influence
Drugs? No.
of anything?
No, neither one appeared to be under the influence of any drug.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, stay safe out there, officer.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead with the argument. Mr. Cashman?
Sure, Your Honor. Your Honor, based on the testimony of the officer, there seems to be some inconsistency with, we understand that there is 39 grams of some substance. Is it a combination of what? We exactly don't know. The field test just hit positive. And again, we don't know about the scientific accuracy of said field tests. They were not sent to GBI for any type of drug testing. More importantly, half of the injuries the complaining witness complained of don't seem to reflect, rather, the injuries viewed or not viewed don't seem to reflect what she told the officers. More importantly, there seems to be some disconnect between how the drugs got there. Miss Grenage knows exactly where they were despite being transported in the vehicle, and for whatever time they've been in that hotel room, nothing in the testimony points that the drugs were actually possessed by my client, nor that he placed them there, outside of a hearsay statement that she was told by my client that the drugs were there and that he was worried. Nonetheless, again, there seems to be issues with the drugs. quantity of what exactly, we're uncertain. It's just hitting positive for meth and fentanyl, and the field tests again are not scientifically conclusive.
All right, go ahead, Mr.
Your Honor, for this probable cause hearing, I think it's sufficient that the drugs have been field tested and have displayed both attributes of methamphetamine and fentanyl. It could be that they're a mixture. I don't want to opine later on as to what the drug test may show, but I think the testimony that the field test demonstrates that the drugs were positive for both of those substances would be sufficient. The state would argue be sufficient for them being charged in the alternative for both. But I think that's clear for that. As far as the witness did state where that she believed the drugs were in the vehicle, and that was corroborated by the officer going and seeing drugs in that location. The defendant was the driver of the vehicle, so there is some constructive possession on that basis as well. And as far as where the keys were located, I don't think that's particularly relevant at this time. If we have a search warrant, I think that at that time they had the authorization to get inside the vehicle. So I think that would be something to be better addressed at trial. But there is at least this time a valid search warrant for them to go into that vehicle. As far as the battery charges, the defendant is charged with simple battery, not battery. So there doesn't need to be visible injury for that charge. So I would think that there'd be enough for simple battery family violence, not only on the basis of the officer hearing the statement from the victim that she was slapped, and the victim initially stating that she was slapped, and then when separated from the defendant, then also reiterating that. I think that's enough for PC at this time. And also with the officer's testimony that it is frequent in these DV cases, or at least family violence cases, for victims to recant when they're in the presence of their abuser. But the state would just ask for you to find PC for all of these charges, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may, very briefly, I understand the state's position. The argument is less so about whether they were drugs or not. The argument is about what quantity of the drugs, because it is stated in the law, particularly the amount of each drug, and we cannot ascertain what was what. Therefore, the trafficking as well as the intent to distribute charges cannot just you need to have the exact amounts of each in order to understand if it's a trafficking or a simple possession case. And to say that, well, yeah, they tested positive in a totality of 39 grams, whatever it was, is insufficient for these charges to stick. We don't know what was meth and what was fentanyl. So how do we know what those amounts were to justify the trafficking charges?
All right.
Busy, but I'm glad to
So,
be here.
I mean, I'll find probable cause on all cases, but the trafficking, need to send them to the crime lab, and sent in May. Right now there is a $40,000 good bond as of September the 8th.
Prior DUI, a couple of misdemeanors, simple assault, family violence, one arrest in Florida, couple of felonies, old CWAC in 2000, criminal attempted a felony, prior harassing phone calls, couple of arrests for probation violation, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cashland.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cassette is, I can't do math, 55 years old, slightly residentially challenged. He is required to stay in Fulton County. He has 2 adult children, a son and a daughter, a high school graduate from Northside High School out in Warner Robins. So he is a lifelong Georgia resident. He is a military veteran serving with the Air Force from 1986 until 1995, where he was discharged. He, with waiving sounding, had no convictions since a 2010 issue, and an unindicted pending case in Houston County, also unfortunately for drugs. Other than that, Your Honor, based on Mr. Cassette's lengthy residency here in Georgia, as well as his having 2 adult children and eventually at some point maybe grandchildren, strong community ties, not a threat to leave flee the court's jurisdiction. We request that bond not to exceed $10,000 in aggregate.
All right, go ahead, Mr.
And this
Scott.
Your Honor, the state would
testimony,
ask for no less than 30. State is concerned with
Hotel
the risk to
hopping.
reoffend with the, at least the misdemeanor battery offenses on the defendant's history. So there's a risk to reoffend there, as well as a flight risk with some out-of-state offenses. So state's concerned with that, as well as just the danger of the community with any time where you have such a large amount of drugs on the defendant's possession, as stated, any more than 4 grams of that fentanyl would be trafficking amount, and the same for the methamphetamine over 28. So there is a concern with that large quantity of drugs rather found the defendant is charged with possession of. So state's concerned with the danger of the community. So I would ask for no less than 30. For the conditions to remain the same, that he stay away from La Quinta Hotel at 575 Holcomb Bridge, and no contact at all with Asalma Greenwich. And that would be the state's recommendation, Your Honor.
All right.
people
No
in
drugs
court
unless
could be-
prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. As long as you supply, you got to supply an address upon release of where you'll be living. Let's see.
So he won't be
And
getting
work,
out.
if you can find work, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. And stay away from 575 Holcomb Bridge Road. No further contact with ASALMA Greenwich, GRINNAGE. So it'd be 20,000, 19,000, 1,000, and drug-related objects is UJR jail. 20,000, 9,000, 1,000, and UJR jail. Best of luck to you, sir.
All right, that was a lot of fun. And I do have more, just not more Manning. I'm sorry. We are going to take a trip over to another one of my favorite judges. And like I was saying in the beginning, there was supposed to have been a soft sit. It didn't happen. What is, no. File is invalid. No, it's not. I'm getting an error message that my file is invalid. I'm sorry. We can instead, bear with me. Oh, that's infuriating. I hate when it does that. I really do. And that clip took over an hour to export. So we're going to see if anything is going to happen in Judge Kenneth King's room instead. So let me get this going.
You gotta put your arms down for you, okay? My judge should not know you here. Come on in. Now you got to put your pants on, put your shirt down.
I love Judge King.
You already talked to him?
I don't know if anything happens, and I don't know when it starts. I don't know what it is. But it sounded like a good place to start.
Waiting on the defendants.
Okay.
You gotta sit up.
It's a lot of people packed in that courtroom. Normally, there are not that many.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So we have two homicide cases on our docket this afternoon. The first one that we're doing is Jalen McDonald. The defendant is Jalen McDonald. Now, I don't know who belongs to who here, and quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Let me caution you, I know how emotional cases like this can be, but there are to be no disturbances whatsoever in the courtroom. If there are any, you will find yourself not going out the door that you came, you'll be going out the side door here, which I don't think anyone wants to go. So I shouldn't even know that any of you are in the courtroom, okay? Understood? Calling case 2359190, people of state of Michigan versus Jalen McDonald. Defendant is charged in count 1 homicide, murder, first degree premeditated. Count 2 felony prior. Appearances for the record.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. To your staff, this is Brian Johnson, for people 84143.
Good afternoon, this Honorable Court. Carla Marable, P number 62755, on behalf of Mr. McGowan. Please state your full name, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon, Jalen McDonald. Today is date time set for preliminary examination. Are we ready to proceed?
We're ready.
How many witnesses will be?
Just one.
Do you have any preliminary matters before we call the witness?
I have two, Your Honor. The first, I would ask for a mutual order of sequestration with an exception for my officer in charge, Officer Brandon Stewart.
Any objection to the order?
I have no objection, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen in the courtroom, if you are a witness or potential witness, I'm ordering you to vacate the courtroom at this time. If you remain one that you are a witness, to make a potential testifying in a later date. Also, people out there in YouTube land, if you are a witness or potential witness, I'm ordering you to log off at this time.
I have not seen
Your
this,
Honor,
by the
Ms.
way.
Carvel has been so kind as to stipulate the idea of the proceeding. I am going to enter in the medical examiner's report. I'm asked to enter it in under 766.11B, Michigan General Law.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish the relevant portions to the court?
Yes.
Told you, real life's more scary.
I provided a copy to the court. This is a medical examiner's report 23-11903. It is authored by Nicole Kroom, CROOM, medical doctor, assistant medical examiner on a person named Don Juan Williams, DON. Next name is JUAN Williams, authored on September 28th, 2023. And it says that per investigation, the deceased was a 21-year-old phenotypic male who was conveyed to the hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced at 0111 hours on September 27th, 2023. Postmortem external examination revealed 3 gunshot wounds on the body, 1 on the head, 1 on the chest, and 1 in the right thigh. There was no soot or gunpowder stippling noted on the skin surrounding any of the wounds. Unless otherwise stated, the wound tracks are described when the body is viewed in standard anatomical position. The gunshot wounds are arbitrarily numbered for ease of description and do not reflect the series of firing. Dr. Kroom then goes on to list that there was a penetrating gunshot wound to the head, labeled GSW1, penetrating gunshot wound to the chest, labeled as GSW2, and a perforating gunshot wound to the right thigh, which is GSW3. And in addition to the gunshot wounds, there was blunt force injuries to the head as follows. Externally, there was an abrasion with central laceration on the midline occipital region. And internally, there was a midline occipital scalp contusion, underlying the aforementioned laceration and fracture of the midline occipital OCCIPT. And then she talks about how the brain was edematous with mild patchy subarachnoid hemorrhage. Noted on the superior and inferior surfaces of bilateral frontal lobe to the right inferior temporal lobe. In consideration of the circumstances in the postmortem examination, it is my opinion that death was caused by multiple gunshot wounds. The manner of death is homicide. So, in conclusion, she says that death was caused by multiple gunshot wounds, and the manner of death is homicide. People would like to call the first witness Erica Johnson.
Okay.
Erica Johnson.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Please step forward. Give your name and spelling to the young lady that's over there waving at you.
Hi. This is your first name.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Thank you. Please have a seat. The witness box right next to me. Keep your voice up nice and loud and speak into that microphone that'll be to your left. May begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Johnson. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. If I can't hear you, I'll ask you to speak up. Speak into that microphone, speak up nice and loud, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Can you spell your name for the record one more time?
Erica Johnson, ERICA, Johnson, J-O-H-N.
Okay. And how old are you, Ms. Johnson?
25.
Okay. I'm gonna take you back to September 27, 2023. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in the area of 18400 Waltham Street?
Yes.
And what is? Waltham, W-A-L-T-H-A. And what is at that address? Okay. And were you there around 12:30 at night? Were you there at the nighttime?
Yes.
Okay. And what city is that in?
Detroit, Michigan.
And what county?
Okay.
And you said that that's your home?
Yes.
Okay. And what were you doing at your home then?
Enjoying my brother and his friends.
Okay. What do you mean enjoying? What were you guys doing?
Playing cards, drinking, listening to music.
Okay. Drinking alcohol?
Yes.
Okay. And playing cards, listening to music?
Yes.
Okay. And who all was there?
One of my brother friends.
Okay.
Because he just started the other day. So they were just coming back. So,
Okay. So your brother's friends were there? And do you know the names of your brother's friends?
there was a lot of people.
Okay. Do you know about how many people were there? Okay. And were you guys, where in the house were you guys situated?
the dining room, kitchen area.
Okay, was it well lit?
Yeah, the kitchen light was on,
Okay, and where was everybody playing cards?
at the dining room table.
Okay, and who's your brother? Okay, and how old is he? How old is he?
21.
Okay, and how long was he there at the house with you?
He just moved back home, so he's been 6 months.
Please speak into the microphone nice and loud.
He just moved back home, so I would say he's been home like 6 months.
So he lived with you?
Yes.
Okay, and that night, how long was he there at the house with you?
All that night.
All that night, okay. And at some point while you guys are hanging out playing cards, does somebody show up?
Without objection, leading. It's leading.
This is just,
I'm no lawyer, but asking the question while you were playing cards, did someone show up? I don't think that's leading. It's a question. Like, it could have been the mailman. It could have been the UPS guy. It could have been the neighbor bringing cookies. He didn't give a name and say, did so-and-so show up? Like, that's a horrible objection. Stop it. I have not seen this, guys. So for those who are dropping little hints about what happens and stuff, I have no idea. So I'm all new to this. So I do hope it's good, and I hope you'll enjoy it. And just know that I love you all, and I'm so happy you're here. Take this mystery ride with me.
It's a yes or no question. Does somebody show up?
Yes,
Who shows up?
a group of girls and a few guys.
Okay, and who are the group of girls?
Jaleesa Robinson and her sisters.
Who is Jaleesa Robinson?
She was my son and my brother's hairdresser.
Okay, and you said a few boys showed up?
Yeah.
Who were the boys that showed up? How many? Let me start with this. How many?
It was 4 boys that I had seen before.
Okay. And had you seen, besides Jaleesa, had you seen any of the women before?
Yes.
Okay, so did you know them?
Yeah, but not so much of their name. I just knew Jaleesa personally.
Okay. And do you know how they showed up?
Yeah, they drove.
Okay, do you know who drove? You don't know?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you know what kind of car they arrived in?
The exact car? No.
Do you know what color it was?
It was a green car.
Okay. Do you know what kind of make it was?
No,
Was it a big car, a small
it
car?
was a smaller car.
And so can you estimate how many between the male and the female, males and females, how many people additionally showed up to your house?
Like I said, it was 4 guys that I never seen before.
Okay.
And Jaleesa and her sisters, and it was 2 other girls that I never seen before.
Okay. So about 7 or 8 people?
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, there are, is it fair to say there are like 19 to 20 people at your house?
I would say 15 at the most.
15 at the most, okay. And did they come in the door? They come,
Yes.
Did they not come?
Everybody came in the door.
okay. And were you introduced to any of the males?
No, I wasn't introduced to nobody, but I approached one of them.
One of the males?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get a name from that person?
No, I didn't ask it for it today.
Okay. And was there anybody there that you learned their name?
Yes.
Who?
Young,
Okay, and who was young?
I'm right there.
Okay, so how did you learn his name?
Because my brother approached him first and asked him what his name was.
Okay, and what did this person say?
His name is Young.
Okay, do you see Young in the courtroom?
Yes,
Okay, can you point to him and identify him by article of clothing he's wearing?
he right there, Young Green.
Okay, and what kind of hair does he have?
He got dreads.
Okay, Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified you as the defendant?
So no,
And did you later learn this person's name?
Yeah, like I said, my brother asked me for his name, but when I approached him, I didn't ask him for his name.
Okay, did you later learn his real name?
Yes,
What was that?
Yeah. Foundation. We need to lay a foundation before.
it's the same.
Now, what was this person doing in your house?
he was coming in and out the bathroom with Jaleesa.
Okay,
So I noticed him keep coming in and out the bathroom with Jaleesa. So I approached him
okay,
and I said, "You good?" He said, "Yeah, I'm good."
okay.
He said, "You know Malik?" I said, "Malik who?" He said, "Light skinned Malik that stayed down the street." I said, "Yeah, I know him. Why?" He said, "I was just asking." I said, "But you good?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "I just want you to know you good. Ain't nothing gonna happen. You good."
Why did you ask him if he was good?
Because my brother's friends was saying he was an op.
Well, don't tell me what your brother's friends were saying, but why did you single him out because you felt suspicious?
I observed his movement, the way he kept going in and out the bathroom on his phone.
Okay. And was Don Williams, your brother, still in the house at this point?
Yes,
Okay. Now, this person, Youngin, what was he wearing at the time?
he was wearing like a ski mask, but his face wasn't covered.
Okay, so where was the ski mask? How was it on his face?
It was like this, and some of his dreads was hanging out at the top. But you could still see his tattoo a little bit.
So he was wearing a ski mask inside your house?
He didn't have it covering his face.
Okay, so you could see his face clearly?
Yes,
And the person, what was the person's hairstyle? The Youngin's hairstyle?
like I said, it was under a ski mask, but you can tell he had dreads, because the dreads was sticking out the top of the ski mask.
And what kind of clothes was he wearing?
He had on all black, I believe, but I know for sure he had on a varsity jacket.
Okay, like a high school or college
Yeah.
varsity jacket. And how long was Youngin in the house?
I would say 30 minutes at the most.
Okay. And during that time, did you have time to observe his movements within the house, observe what he looked like?
Yeah,
And was your brother still in the house at this point?
yeah,
Okay. At some point, let me ask you this, did you see Youngin and your brother having conversations inside the house?
yeah. We
Okay.
was all standing in a circle at the kitchen. And I approached him again. I said, "You know you good, bro." And my brother was like, "Yeah, you good, bro."
Objection to what the brother said, it called for hearsay, Your Honor.
It's the same.
Don't tell me what your brother said, but did your brother and Youngin have a conversation?
No, that was all that was said between.
Okay. What was said between them? Did it seem like it was just a normal conversation, or did it seem heightened in some way?
No, from me looking at the situation, my brother was just reassuring him that he was okay.
So there was no yelling between
No,
them? Okay, so you said Youngin was in the house for 30 minutes or so.
yes,
Okay. And during this time, did you ever ask him his real name, what his real name was?
no,
Okay, so you just knew him as Youngin?
yes,
Okay. At some point, did anybody leave?
yes,
Who left?
youngin,
Okay, and how long, do you recall what time he left?
no,
Okay,
everybody left, actually,
everybody left?
yes,
Okay, I just asked you this, was it dark when everybody left?
yes, but it wasn't dark because there's a street light right there in front of my house
Okay,
and my porch light was on.
okay. When everybody left, where did you go?
I was still on the porch.
Okay, so you went out, is your porch, like you went out your front porch?
Yeah, I never went in the house. My brother was outside.
Okay, so at some point you went from inside the house to outside the house on your porch?
No,
No? Okay,
During this, when we was all in the house, yeah, but once we was all outside, I stayed outside.
okay, that's what I mean. At some point you went from the house to the
Yes.
porch, okay, and you stayed on the porch.
Yes,
Okay. Where did Youngin go?
at this point, I didn't even see him
Okay,
at all.
was he inside the house or outside the house?
He was outside the house.
And where was your brother?
My brother was outside the house as well.
Okay, what was your brother doing?
He was dealing with friends, telling his friends to leave.
Okay, and, at this point, you said you didn't see where Youngin went?
No,
Okay, did, Youngin ever come back? Or did you ever see Youngin again?
yes,
Yeah. In what capacity? When did you see him again?
when he rolled the window down and shot my brother.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but the next time you see Youngin, where is?
He's in the white SUV.
Okay, so did you see him get into a white SUV?
No,
Okay, can you describe the white SUV?
it was just a white SUV. I don't know exactly what kind of, but it was white and it had tinted windows.
Tinted windows, okay. Did it have all the windows?
Yes,
Okay, and the windows were up or down?
all of them was up.
Okay. So how did you know that, Youngin was in the vehicle?
Because when the window rolled down, I still see the ski mask he had on. It was like furry, and his dreads was still sticking out the top of it.
Okay, so at what point did the window roll down?
After my brother approached the car, and he
Okay.
was talking for a minute.
Okay, where was, let me ask you this, I should ask this further, where was the car at this point? That should be,
On the side of my house,
okay, and how far away were you from the car?
um,
Is that, you don't know?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't far.
Okay, did you have a clear line of view to the,
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
did you have a clear view of the vehicle?
Yes,
Okay. Were there any trees in the way or anything like that?
no,
So the window, when you first saw the vehicle, were the windows up or down?
uh,
At some point, did the windows go down?
one window,
Which window?
back,
Okay, back driver or passenger?
back driver.
Okay, so when you're looking at the vehicle, what is the angle at which you're looking at the vehicle?
I'm looking at it from the driver's side.
Okay, so as you're looking at it, do you see the driver's side windows?
Yes,
Okay, and then you said you saw the back driver's side window go down?
yeah,
Okay, what did you see in that window, if anything?
I just seen him point a gun.
See, all right,
Well, and
hold on. Who did you see did you see anybody in the back?
I didn't see no one but the person that was in the window, and it was Youngin.
Okay, you saw, so where was Youngin in the vehicle?
Yes,
Where was he sitting?
behind the driver.
Okay, and did you see anybody else in the car?
No,
Okay. And what happened next? After the window goes down, you said you saw Youngin in the car, what do you see next?
the way my brother was there at the window, it was like he was holding on to the window, or they had hold on to him.
Okay,
Because it took a minute for my brother to drop.
okay,
So it's like I said, it was like they was holding on to him, or he was holding on to the car.
okay, so at some point, did your brother go up to the window?
Yes,
Okay, and is it,
someone called him to the car.
okay,
Objection. Was someone called into the, car, there has been a foundation laid for
wasn't,
mean.
that. I removed it.
That's prime.
did you hear anybody, did you hear Youngin say anything to your brother?
I don't know who voice it was, I just know it said Don.
Okay, and after you heard Don, did your brother respond to that?
Yeah, he walked over there.
Okay, and, was it just him that walked over there?
Yes,
Okay, and can you tell, I don't want you to tell me what your brother said, but can you tell if they're having a conversation?
yeah,
They are?
they were.
Okay. What did the conversation seem like? Did it seem like they were angry with each other, or did it seem like it was just a normal conversation?
It seemed like it was a normal conversation.
Okay, and how long were they talking?
5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. 5-10 minutes just talking
I
to each
wouldn't
other?
even say 10 minutes, 5 at the most.
Okay. And what were you doing at this time?
On the porch, yelling.
Okay, what were you yelling at? Who were you yelling?
Well, I was yelling at my brother's friends
Okay, why?
because they was leaving him.
Okay. Like leaving him behind, you wanted,
So they was just leaving period in general.
okay, so as you're yelling at your friends, are you still notice your brother having a conversation with Youngin?
Yes.
Okay,
My eyes was like still stuck on him because I was trying to see who he was talking to.
and, how did you know it was Youngin in the phone?
Like I said, he had on the same ski mask he had on in my house.
Was it up or down?
And his face was covered.
His face was covered, okay. Could you see what the person was wearing?
No.
Okay. Could you see anything about his hair?
Yeah, the dreads, a few dreads were still sticking out at the top, but.
Is there any doubt in your mind that that was Youngin?
No.
After the 5 minutes of them talking, what does Youngin do?
Like I said, it was like my brother was holding on to the car, or he was holding on to my brother.
Okay,
But he shot him twice, or three, I don't know how many times in the chest.
who shot?
Youngin,
Okay, how do you know that Youngin shot?
because I witnessed it, I seen it with my 2 eyes.
Okay, and how many shots did you hear?
Like, I would say like 6.
And after you heard the shots, did you see Youngin with a gun?
So they drove off, but when I was running towards my brother, they stopped, like they paused. So I backed up because I thought they was about to reverse.
Okay.
Then they pulled off.
Okay, so after you hear the shots, you said you heard about 6 shots.
Yes.
What happens to your brother?
Dropped to the ground.
Okay, and do you go to your brother?
Scratched.
Why couldn't?
I knew he was dead.
Did you find out that, did you eventually go up to him? Yeah? Okay, and was he deceased?
Yes.
Okay. You said the car took off. Did it have to back up or did it go straight? What direction?
It went straight and it paused and it went straight. I don't know if it turned out over, but if it kept straight.
Okay, so when you say the car, the SUV was on the side of the house, was it on a side street?
Yes.
Okay, so did it just go straight?
Yes.
Okay. So after your, let me ask you this. Did you see Youngin pull out again?
No.
Okay, so how do you know it
I
was,
just seen him pointing at my brother.
but did you see a gun?
Yes.
Okay, and did you see him physically shoot the shots?
Yes.
Okay, and did you hear them?
Yes.
I guess this needs a little bit of
Um,
foundation build
You
up.
said that you learned Youngin's real name?
Yes.
How did you learn it? From who? Let me ask you that. What was,
Your Honor, that would cause for hearsay.
It's identification.
from whom did you learn the name?
Teresa Robinson.
Okay, and Joyce Robinson's your hairstylist?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that name?
What was
What was the name that was Young's real name?
Jamie Nicole.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I have no further questions, Ms. Jones.
Cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry.
I said before Mr. Miracle starts, and I'm plugging my machine.
Okay.
Sorry.
especially in
Ma'am.
cities like Detroit.
On September 27th, you're at your home, correct?
Yes,
And what time, do the people start to come over?
they was already there when I got home.
Okay, and what time do you get home?
So like 10.
10 o'clock at night, correct?
Yes,
When you say they were already there, you mean your brother and his friends, correct?
yes.
Okay. And, you, in direct examination, you said you were drinking, correct?
I ain't say I was drinking. I said we all was drinking.
Okay, were you drinking, Ms.
Thanks for
Johnson?
coming out.
Yeah,
Okay, and you were smoking?
Much love. Sleep
Yeah.
sweet.
Okay. You were smoking marijuana, correct?
yes.
Okay. At the time before this event, would you say that you were tipsy or intoxicated?
No, 'cause I didn't even know anybody was at my house.
Okay, so before this, had you been smoking marijuana all day?
So like I said, I didn't know anyone was at my house. I was with my kid.
Okay, so how much marijuana had you smoked before 10:10 p.m.?
I ain't smoking till I got home.
Okay, so you're at your house and your brother's there with his friends, correct?
Yes,
And y'all are just enjoying the night, correct?
yes,
And this is when you engage in drinking and smoking, correct?
yes.
So the question is, how much did you smoke before this event?
I was not smoking too much.
2 blunts, okay. And how much did you drink?
I had 1 cup. I didn't even finish the cup. I was sipping on it.
Okay,
I wasn't tipsy at all.
so were you trying to enjoy yourself and relax and, feel good?
Anytime my brother have his friends over, I never try to enjoy myself and relax, because I always watch them and see what they doing.
Okay, so you say that you always try to watch over them. This was the question. You say you had 2 blunts, correct? Marijuana, correct?
Yes,
And you had a cup, correct?
yes,
So you wasn't abstaining from smoking and drinking, correct? You know what the word abstain means?
no,
You wasn't not going to smoke and drink, correct? You were smoking and drinking.
yes,
Okay. So the purpose of smoking and drinking is to get tipsy or high, correct?
you can say that.
Okay. So
Or
at what
socialize.
time do the
with
4
friends.
boys come in?
Like 3 of them was already there.
Okay. Now, let's go into the 3 boys.
Thanks for coming, my
They had
love.
dreadlocks, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, so is it fair to say that most of the young men that was there that night had dreadlocks?
most of the young men that did have dreadlocks, I knew them.
But that was the question was, Ms. Johnson. And I know that this is very difficult for you, but the question was, most of the young men there had dreadlocks, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Now, you say that in direct examination, you said about 15 people are in the house, correct?
yes,
Okay, and y'all are smoking and drinking and you got music on and playing cards, correct?
yes,
Okay, now you say that a young man went in and out the bathroom. The bathroom is located on the first floor?
yes.
Okay. Now, this particular person, did they go in the bathroom by themselves? Did they go in the bathroom with anybody else?
He went in the bathroom and used the house.
Okay. And Jaleesa Robinson is who?
My son and my brother's graduation.
Okay. And she's there at the get together?
Yes,
Okay. Now, at this point, you never.
So just a little fun tidbit of my youth, where I was born and raised. It was pretty decent town when I was growing up there. But as my mom was a child, the street our family home was on was divided by the train tracks and the river. Like literally in our backyard was the train tracks, and then at the bottom of that road was the river. So they were within a block of each other. And on my family home side of the tracks was known as the Bloody Third, because in that time and in that town and that side of the tracks, it was where all of the violence was. And it was the poor side of town. It never stopped being the poor side of town. But the violence did eventually stop for the most part. But yeah, just a little tidbit. It straightened out by the time I came around and was growing up there. So I'm very grateful for that. But at one point in history, it was known as the Bloody Third.
Never hear any argument, correct?
No,
You never hear any fussing or fighting or any aggression, correct?
no,
Okay. Now, somewhere in the direct examination, you say that your brother friends kept saying something about the ops. You remember that line of questioning?
yes,
Okay, what is the ops? What does that mean?
no, this is mine.
Okay, so when your brother friends are saying that, you don't know what that means, correct?
No,
Okay, but even though you don't know what that means, you said that you began to investigate.
yeah, because they kept screaming, so I'm like, what's going on?
Okay, so your brother's friends are basically causing some confusion. When you say your brother friends, can you state their names?
No, I cannot, because there was a lot of them.
Okay, but the ones that were at the house, can you please state their name for the record?
I cannot tell you their names because I don't know their names. They're not my clients.
Okay, so even though you watch out for your brother and you try to oversee your brother, you don't know physically his friends' names?
I don't know.
Okay. So if you don't know his friend's name,
They don't always be there, ma'am.
okay, let me check. You say that you don't know his friends' names, right?
I know the ones that wasn't there.
Okay, you know the ones that wasn't there. But, so, I wanna be clear. You're saying that the people inside the house was your brother's friends. If you don't know their names and they're yelling and screaming in your house, how do you know they were his friends?
Because I know we went to school all of my brothers from my clinics.
Okay,
He lived with these boys. I don't know these boys personally. My brother had his own life in the school.
okay, so you come to your house and it's some people in the house that you assume are your brother friends,
Lots
because
of
they
cool
come
stories
from
will
our
hear in the
clinic,
future.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't know their names.
Yeah, my brother reassured me that everybody in here good.
Okay, but you, to this day, you don't know their names.
None of the namesakes, ask and answer.
Okay. I'll move on. Okay, so how many of them were there?
How many is who?
Yeah, why did she spend that much time on the name thing? Like, that was an exceptionally long time for something that the girl was very clear on. She didn't know the names of the friends that were over and in the house at that moment, but she does know the names of some of her brother's friends. They just weren't the ones that were there at the time. Like, I don't know the names of all of my brother's friends. That's, it's not normal to be that close in your siblings' business that you know every friend of theirs. Like, come on, that was, yeah, asked and answered like 15 times.
Of your brother friends in the house, you said it was 15 people
I
together?
would say out of my brother's friends, it was 11 of them. including
Okay.
my brother.
11 of them, okay. And so they are getting rowdy in your house, correct?
They never got rowdy in my house.
You
They
said
were
they're
outside.
okay. So inside of the house, there's no confusion
There's no confusion, there's no commotion, none of that.
in the house, okay. So everybody's drinking, having a good time inside the house, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so at some point, when do people begin to leave? What time?
like around 12 o'clock.
Okay, so you get there 10:10 and people begin to leave about 12 o'clock. And in between these 2 hours, you're smoking marijuana and you're drinking, correct?
Yes,
And you are also letting young people in your house drink and smoke marijuana, correct?
they old enough.
How you know, if you don't know their names and you don't know any information about them, how you know they're old enough?
Kitty Bomb make up
It
for
wasn't
it.
on my behalf. I know how old they was or not. Their mother knew they was outside.
Okay, so to answer the question, you don't know how old they were, correct?
I don't.
Okay, but you're still as an adult letting people smoke and drink in your house.
Objection.
I didn't let anybody do anything.
I'll move on, Your Honor. Okay, so these young people that you're smoking and drinking with, at some point, what makes them go outside? Everybody start to leave and go home?
Can I clarify something?
No, I'm asking you questions, Ms. Johnson. At some point, why do people go outside?
Because everybody else was outside. My brother approached his
Okay.
friends outside.
Okay, so at some point, the party moves from inside to outside, Ms. Johnson?
Yeah,
Okay, and at that point, it's 12 o'clock at night, so it's fair to say it's dark, correct?
yeah.
Okay, because 12 o'clock at night is dark. Okay. Now, you say that your brother 11 friends, where are they at down the front porch, the back porch,
Everybody outside in front of my house.
in front of your house? Okay. Now. And do you know what the people are doing in front of the house? Just still smoking and drinking and?
Wasn't nobody smoking and drinking outside. My brother was arguing with his friends, telling
Okay.
them to leave.
Okay, your brother is arguing with his friends, correct?
Yes,
He's not arguing with the person named Youngin, correct?
no.
And he's arguing with his friends. Now, when you say he's arguing with his friends, what makes you think he's arguing with his friends? Because of their voices are raised?
They yelling, yes, they working with friends.
Okay. Now, at this point, do you try to go and tell them to calm down?
Yeah,
So you tell your brother to calm down
yeah,
with his friends?
yeah.
Okay. Do you leave the porch and go out on the sidewalk and
In
tell
front of the
them?
house, yeah,
So you do leave the porch?
yeah,
Okay. And at this point, he's arguing with them and he's telling them to leave, right?
yeah.
But didn't you say that you're asking in direct examination, asking the friends, why are y'all leaving him?
Yes,
Okay, if your brother's arguing with them and he's telling them to leave, why are you, the sister, asking them about why they're leaving the brother?
because what they was arguing about.
Okay. Okay. So you wanted your brother to go with someone that he was telling to leave and he's arguing with?
I ain't want him to go with nobody. I wanted him to stay there with my brother.
Okay, okay. But at this point, you wanted him to stay there with your brother, but there's been no hostility, no aggression with anybody except for your brother and his friends,
Look at
correct?
that.
You're correct.
Okay. Now,
He was doing the 10
so at some
headache.
point, do people leave?
Oh,
Do people get in their cars and leave?
Yeah,
Okay. So how many people, well, I'm quite sure 11 people get into a variety of cars, correct?
yes,
Okay, and at this time, you're watching the people leave, correct?
yes,
Okay. And you say there's a white SUV, so you never saw Youngin, somebody, the person you said Youngin, ever get into a car?
no,
Okay. Now, you said that the side of the house, the prosecutor asked you the clothing of Youngin and how. You remember that line of questioning?
yeah.
Okay, so this SUV that you see, how long after everybody leaves do you see
It was there while my brother was arguing with his friends.
it? Okay, Now, you say that the person that shot out of the SUV, right, had a ski mask on, correct?
Yes,
And that you could not see any of the person's clothing, correct?
yes,
Okay, so if the person had a ski mask and you couldn't see their face, and out of the 11 boys, many of the boys had dreadlocks, correct?
yeah,
Okay, so you didn't see, you don't know who shot your brother because you did not see the face, correct?
like I said, he had on the same ski mask he had on in my house.
Okay, so let's go to the ski mask. Explain the ski mask.
It was like furry, it's regular ski mask, and then there's some furry kinds that little strings stick out.
Okay, now with the particular ski mask, in this particular group of kids, ski mask is very popular, correct?
And nobody had one on but them.
Okay, you didn't see anybody with anything on, correct?
No,
But you, as the adult in the house, you weren't checking bags or anything, correct? You don't know what was in their pockets or in cars, correct?
no one ever said I was going to the daughter's house.
Okay, well, since it was your house, you didn't check any bags or anything, correct?
No, like I said, I came home to these people in my house.
Okay, now, so this particular ski mask, right, you said it was furry, right?
Yeah,
Okay. You couldn't see the person who shot your brother, once again,
It's another instance of I know the defense attorney is doing their job. I know they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. However, what they're doing and how they're doing it is so annoying. It's so infuriating. Like, you just wish for a moment that they would step off and have a little compassion and empathy and understand that this poor child lost her brother right in front of her eyes, and understand that she had to have been scared to death, because what would have happened if she had been standing next to her brother at that very moment? I know she's doing what she has to do because that's her job. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
you didn't see their face, correct?
no,
You didn't see their clothing, correct?
no,
Okay. You're only going on the ski mask, and at the time that you see the shooting, how far are you from the car?
I'm not far at all.
Okay, so are you from the distance between me
I was
and
saying
you?
right here to there, my brother was right there.
Okay,
Right,
So-
right now.
Right there in front of this line, my brother was there, I was here.
okay,
Approximately 10, 11 feet.
yes. So the way that you identify the shooter is not by any facial or body, only by the ski mask, correct?
Yes, and his dreads was still hanging out his ski
Okay.
mask like he was inside my house.
But
Judge,
the
you
thing
still
about the
will.
ski mask is, the ski mask is black, correct?
Yes,
And it's dark outside.
it's 2 lights outside,
Okay, but it's dark. It's 12 o'clock at night, correct?
but you can still see.
Okay, so you're looking at a car and you see a black ski mask, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Can you redirect?
Hang on.
Ma'am, did you see anyone else out there with a ski mask?
no, sir,
Anyone else out there had a mask at all?
no, sir.
All right, any questions based on my question?
Hang on.
Thank you, ma'am, you may step down. Any other witnesses?
I don't think she's out there. Can I call for Kelsey Perry?
Sure.
Kelsey Perry? Perry, yeah. No, okay, thank you. Your Honor, people have no more witnesses.
Any witnesses for the defendant?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the people would seek to bind over on all charges. I would reserve argument for.
Ms. Merrill?
Your Honor, probable cause, as I know Your Honor is very well aware, is the lowest standard in criminal justice system. You have to show that crime was committed and probable cause that my client committed. In this particular case, I don't think there's enough of bind over. Only thing that she doesn't say, she said that the shooter had on a mask, and that's it. She didn't see the face. She never saw him get in the car. There has to be some kind of LexisNexis to connect the two. If you believe her testimony, like most favorable to the prosecution, she sees a person. First of all of the boys had dreadlocks, and I brought that out that a lot of the kids there at the party had dreadlocks, right? So that itself is not anything to identify someone. She said that she sees a ski mask that this person had on from 11, 12 feet away in the dark. I don't believe there's enough to bind over.
I believe that it's a question of fact, the jury. I believe that we have met probable cause. She did testify that he was in the house with her for 30 minutes or so, and she kept going up to him and asking if he was good, which allows for some up close personal observation of the defendant. And she knew him as youngin', and she was able to give details about what the ski mask looked like, and nobody else had a ski mask on. And of course, that
Not
it was
sure yet.
5 to 10 minutes. She said about 5 minutes of the defendant and her brother arguing regarding or talking at least in the car. This gave her ample time to know who was in the vehicle. The window was down, although it was dark. She said she could see because of the street lights. And I believe that based on all of her testimony, that she was a credible witness, and that it's at least a question of fact for a jury to find for a fact finder. And I would ask that you bind over on all.
Yeah, unless the prosecutor misspoke. She never testified that there was arguing at the car. She never spoke about it. There was no conversation about there was argument in the car. She said that her brother was arguing with his friends, and she was wondering why were they leaving him.
She didn't say that they were arguing in the car, but she said there was some conversation at the
Yeah.
car.
That's what
But
it
the
says.
prosecution, yeah, okay.
Somebody called him, somebody said, nah.
Sorry for the pause, but so I looked it up, and LexisNexis is actually kind of a legal term, but not in the sense of being the definition of something. It is a tool that is used. It lets organizations, government agencies, and nonprofits get a complete picture of individuals, businesses, and assets with industry-leading data and analytic solutions. So it's actually an information and resource company or program. So yeah, it's a software company. So whether or not that's exactly what she was referring to, I'm not sure, but that's what at least one version of it is.
He walked over to the car and engaged them in a conversation. She also said that the window was rolled down. She was able to see the person that she believed to be the defendant, who was wearing the same ski mask that he had on earlier when he was in the house. She described the ski mask as a furry ski mask. She said his dreadlocks were sticking out of the bin, and they were sticking out of the while he was inside of the car. She said, although there were other people there who had dreadlocks, she knew those other people were, that they were friends of her brother, and that although she knew who they were, she didn't necessarily know them by name. I found her testimony to be quite credible. I think if there's anyone who has a motivation to identify the killer of their brother, it would be the sister. The court, after hearing the testimony of the witness that testified, is satisfied that people have met their burden of probable cause as it relates to the charges contained in the complaint form. The court finds those charges were committed in the city of Detroit. The court finds probable cause to believe this has been committed. Defendant will be bound over to Wayne County Third Circuit Court Criminal Division for proceedings. His arraignment on the information date and time will be November 2nd, 2023 at 9:00 a.m. Then will be remanded to the custody of Wayne County Sheriff.
Your Honor, can I get a DSU report? My client has no prior criminal record, and we're asking for a DSU report so that he can get back into school. Because can I argue bond?
On this first preliminary, you must waste my time with it.
If I must waste your time? Well, Your Honor, you know, the only purpose for bond is that flight risk. My client is not a flight risk. He has strong family support here. So he's not a flight risk, and the protection of society. He has no prior violent criminal record. So those are the purpose of bond. Your Honor, he does go to school. He would like to get back into school. This case, there's an ID problem in this particular case. Now, she said that she saw a mask, but the way that she described it, she couldn't have saw the whole mask, because she said the person had it on top of their head. So she
Murder.
couldn't have saw the whole mask. We're just asking for a reasonable bond, Your Honor. Everyone is required for a bond.
Unless they pose a danger to the community or a flight risk.
He doesn't
Boom.
flight risk, Your
I'm
Honor.
not so- not-
He's a young person.
Okay, so if he does not pose a flight risk, I find that he is a potential danger to the community. And another thing I look at is the likelihood of conviction. And based on this witness's testimony, it was quite clear as to who she saw shoot and kill her brother in cold blood in the middle of the street. I find that the likelihood of conviction is also great. And he need not worry about school if he's convicted. He won't be going to any school outside of prison anyway. Right, so.
But I still get my DSU report, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I tried looking up what an ESU report is, and it just lists college things. I don't know what an ESU report is.
Let them leave the floor. What's your name? What's your name? Name.
As much as I would love to continue and do FTC with this one, the problem is this is already at pretrial or preliminary examination. It's at the point where I lose access after this. It goes to the next higher court, which their settings on most of them are you have to get in at the absolute beginning, because you can't use the back button function at all. So you literally have to record the entire day. And it's really, really difficult to catch it depending on which judge it's in front of. I've tried on a couple of them and I've yet to be successful. So where it's at right now, this is where my following it usually has to end. That's why I start at arraignment and first appearances with them, because then I can follow them through all of the lower court levels. But once it gets in front of King or Conlon or McConico, any of those ones, it's it's out of my abilities. I can definitely give it a shot, but and some of them I don't even have access to. Like, I've been trying to catch Fresh Hour, and it's been like a month I've been trying to catch her. I haven't seen Fresh Hour in forever. Yeah, I wish. I'm sorry. I'm just not as cool as you thought I was. But I appreciate that you thought I was that cool.
No name.
No English.
You don't speak no English?
No hablo, no hablo.
No español?
¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Ernesto. ¿Qué?
When's birthday? And I said
I
birthday.
didn't know King knew Spanish. That's amazing.
Have a seat. No, have a seat right there. Yeah.
Much love, y'all. Much love.
You need 2 interpreters.
So
let's get it on the record.
Because I asked the OIC, no, you weren't here, but I asked the OIC if the language, and one of them speaks Seering.
This is why we can't have nice things.
You made the statement on.
Another story from the town I grew up in. There was a little old man that my mom would talk to, very elderly, frail man. And he had a wash bucket in his backyard, a big wash basin. And he took his bath once a year, whether he needed it or not.
Yeah, they have a.
You may end up having to buy another bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Or I usually send it a digital one too, so just one copy.
That's okay, Stormy Seas today. Come on forward.
That'll try.
That's the request form.
No, this is for, no, this is the protective order.
Oh,
Just to make sure. So I'm gonna send you a copy.
yeah.
Is there any
Make sure they follow.
Es muy serio, pero. No disculpe ese pequeño teléfono, por favor. Porque todo está grabado. Todas las conversaciones. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Muchas gracias. Tiene que esperar para
Sí,
la próxima fecha.
ok, yo tengo que salir ya, yo soy
Ms. Howell, can I help you?
Sí, él aparece aquí. Creo que él va
I
a
love you.
andar aquí. No de hablar, pero
Check them out, see. Make sure they phone on silent.
okay. Because I'm ready.
Ms. Howell, can I help you?
We just gotta have another date.
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Howell?
Yo estoy listo, pero ese es
Yeah,
el
so-
número. Can I give this thing?
I'm sorry, so loud. Judge, I have an exam scheduled for tomorrow for Dominic Diggs. And two things. I wanted to see if I could get it adjourned since I was just retained. But if I can't, I wanted to let the prosecutor know so they can send me discovery.
Okay, you need to call Ms. Drain. Is it a domestic violence case?
Okay, I did send her an email. I thought she may have been in there.
Why don't you give her a call?
Okay, I will.
You got a number?
I can look up the office number, but I don't like have a cell phone or anything.
6565, you take that back.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, I'll just.
I need a new phone. The defendant's name again?
Dominic Diggs.
9 o'clock.
Okay,
You don't need an interpreter because.
But I need an interpreter. Whatever I say must be interpreted. Look, I got ears though. I got ears to hear what's going on.
Whatever
But
you
it's
say.
a witness and the defendant.
Whatever you say will be interpreted because
Right.
that's going to be the interpreter.
There's a witness, there's a defendant. She has to speak loudly now.
Right,
Okay,
speaking to the microphone.
right, for both of them.
To hear. Exactly.
I
And
think
you
so,
can communicate with your client on your own.
right. But he still has to hear from her.
Right. Which
She
the
has to-
interpreter is going to speak into the microphone so everybody in the courtroom is here.
So they're coming, so should I open that now? There's something on the second.
Okay.
Oh, so they got it first. Okay. All right, well, please change your. By the way, that thing to check in doesn't seem to be working.
I don't pay attention to it anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, I wanted to say, because they're gonna say, you never checked. We didn't see you. Guys, that's me. Okay, that's good. Yeah, court of appeals, when you go to argue, they scan you in. When you go to argue in court of appeals, they scan you in. Time of arrival.
Okay.
You're physically in the court.
So, you know, we're always like this.
We get one,
Okay, send us the one.
and she'll be here 45 minutes.
45.
Sorry, guys. People in court said that there was another one and that it was good, and then they said that there was a speech, and I'm thinking they were leading me on.
It looks good on Halloween in the morning,
'Cause there's only 2 minutes left
31st.
of this one. Oh, all right. You guys, I love you. It's 1:30 in the morning. I can't do the 3 a.m. thing again tonight. Thank you all for coming out. I can't even believe how amazing my chat is. You guys are just the best. I 100% did not expect anybody to show up because it wasn't till 11:30 when I was finally able to stop adulting and actually get out here. And then my clip was corrupt and we had to figure out something else to do, but we got to watch a really cool Judge King hearing where he seemed to get just as annoyed with the defense attorney as we did. That was kind of the theme for tonight. The defense attorneys were annoying. Anyways, oh, Emily, that's okay, sweetie. We know YouTube is against us all. Keep in mind, guys, if anybody does want to show a little support to the channel, I've got my PayPal and Cash App and Venmo in the description. And otherwise, I will hopefully get out a little earlier. I'm going to fix that clip that I edited today because that took me several hours to cut all of the spaces and dead air and stuff out. And there's some really interesting stuff in it. So I'm going to re-export that one and get it working for tomorrow. Love y'all.